Awesome. Cool. I see people joining. Let's give it a minute or so for everyone to join. How have you been, Jenny? How's the way back to the US?
Good. Finally got some sleep.
That's good. But you know, when you're traveling to EST time zone, the jet lag is not as bad, is what I found.
Yeah. First night I woke up at 1 a.m., got ready at 1 a.m. Um,
Oh, ouch. 1 a.m. is tough.
Second night
Yeah.
I woke up at 5, and then
Okay.
yeah, last night.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
I'm adjusting, but I've had energy the whole time, so it's not like I'm tired. So I don't know. It's working, I guess, all my biohacking.
That's that's well, you came back from Greece. Is the ult Hi everyone, Panos here, co-founder of PNOE. And today with me I've got Jenny Jones, who I've known for quite some time now, a valued PNOE user, recently became a PNOE user, a good friend, and a very renowned expert of the longevity space. I think Jenny, we met at A4M and one of the A4Ms. And Jenny has had a lot of experience in the biohacking space, longevity space, has visited many clinics that offer biooptimization services. And I wanted to have this conversation with her in order to discuss at a public forum what's working and what's not working for the businesses out there. I know the longevity space is replete with different solutions, different modalities, different things that you guys are considering or currently have in store. And so I think it's quite valuable to hear from someone who has visited many of these places, their perspective on what's working and what's not working. So Jenny, welcome to PNOE's webinar series, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm definitely in the biohacking health space. I love it so much. I've been biohacking for years and years, and I've gone to some of the best doctors and interviewed some of the best doctors, longevity clinics from around the world, and I've seen it all, and I get to hear about it all and figure out what's best, what's working. A lot of this space can be confusing for people, I think, and and can be costly. So it's always good to know what's out there, what's helping people, what's working, and what people have access to.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there's a lot going on in the space, which is so cool. Hopefully we can live till 200 or forever, our choosing. But we're getting there. So yeah, let's get all
Awesome.
into it. I don't know where
And
you want
Jenny,
to start.
you were just in Greece, right?
Yes, I saw the
Yeah.
headquarters of PNOE.
Yeah, we were quite excited to host you there, even if it was for a very short bit. But then after Greece, which is the ultimate longevity place, highly recommend for everyone to visit. That's a biohacking modality in and of itself. After Greece, you went to
Seriously.
Berlin to visit one of the biggest longevity clinics in Europe, I think.
Yeah, it's called years. Now they're
Hmm.
doing all the testing. There's clinics, incorporating all the ways to improve your health, but they do all the testing. It was 8, 9 hours of full on testing, barely any break. MRI, ultrasound, all the blood work, everything you can imagine, testing from my body from head to toe. Um, so yeah, it was really a really cool experience, and I got to understand a lot of my body and in real time. The ultrasound is really amazing, and I think it's very common in Europe. Are you there, Panos? Oh,
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, just had a little bit of an issue with my
okay.
connection, but go on.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I mean the ultrasound is something amazing. I did an MRI as well, and you can really know more. Even with an ultrasound, I could see my blood going through my vessels, the thickness, every organ, my heartbeat, all the blood going in and out of my heart. There's, every part, which I think is really cool. And I guess it's common in Europe, but I don't think it's as common in the US. Um, and so all these modalities, you really get to see and make sure that your body is doing what it's supposed to do, or if there's anything that's out of the ordinary, and it can be very preventative. A lot of people avoid these things of testing, and it can be so helpful to understand your body. Um, of course, we did the VO2 max, and you know, they also tested all the like any if you have a mole or a spot, they even use AI now, so they can do in real time, and it's like a amazing microscope, and then it asks AI to know if it can be cancerous or anything. So that's really cool. There's just so much going on in this space. I did a hearing and eye test, all these different modalities there, but it was very intense.
It's interesting. It's interesting to note that out of the things that you experienced there, the testing was the thing that stood out, which is sort of what we are seeing in the United States as well. Maybe the testing is not as comprehensive as, what you experienced, but I think more and more clinics stateside are realizing that in order to set themselves apart, they need to double down on testing and then not just acquire biomarkers, but collectively analyze them in order to build a comprehensive health plan and health journey for their patients. Because you can sell IVs, you can set red lights, but at the end of the day, if you're not understanding what is happening under the hood, it's going to be very difficult to convince people, and it's going to be very difficult to be preventative, which is ultimately the main thesis and the main reason why these places exist, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people want to just go to an IV, go to peptides, we have gene therapy, we have all these modalities. But really, if you don't know, if you're not testing and figuring out what's happening, what your body needs, if there's a toxin, if there's something else going on, how do you know the direction of what you need? So I think
Mhm.
personalization is the key to the future for everyone. And we're going to hopefully with AI, we'll have more and more personalization in real time to figure
Mhm.
out what our body needs.
Totally.
So yeah,
When
you
it comes
have
to
to go
actually,
check out yours.
yeah, no, totally. Um, when it comes to combining all of this information, what have you seen to be the tool, if any, that clinics use? I don't know if in years the clinic you visited in Berlin had any sort of mechanism, systematic process, software tool, call it whatever you want to call it, in order to collectively combine biomarkers from multiple different sources in order to arrive to a conclusion. Because what we know to be a main pain point for our users, and this is the reason why we actually developed our whole dashboard that brings together information from multiple different sources, is this inability to bring together data points from different sources and collectively analyze them. So have you seen best practices? What do people do, not just in terms of software tools, but also in terms of processes or procedures?
No, actually, I haven't really seen anyone combine
Hmm.
everything, because
Hmm.
you have your blood work, you have, looking at the actual body, the physical body, stool
Hmm.
testing, urine testing, all these
Hmm.
different ways we can test, but no
Hmm.
one's really combining all of them and then giving you an output.
Hmm.
Everything is separate. Your DNA, your genes, your blood work, everything is like here, do
Hmm.
this for this, but no one is combining all of this. So
Hmm.
hopefully, I don't know if that's what you guys are working on.
Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate objective of the new dashboard we're launching, to collectively combine, but not just visualize, but comprehend and contextualize all the different elements that are being poured into the system, and drawn from multiple different biometric assessments, because at the end of the day, if there are insights to be drawn when you're analyzing blood and urine, but then no one is actually looking into both sources, then it's as if you're not, actually doing the tests, and you're not getting the full value of the tests. So, it's obviously a big challenge, because
Yeah,
it's not just about, merging information into a dashboard. It's about building the engine, building the logic, all that stuff that actually, requires a lot of medical expertise. But, it's work in progress, and, we want to hear and see what's out there. But interesting to know that you still haven't come across a, viable solution to that issue.
I know it's really something that needs to be in place. And even
Mhm,
doctors, you go to doctors and it's like they can functional medicine doctors and the cost as well. It's like there's only so much, testing they'll
mhm,
do and procedures they have. Stem
mhm,
cells are overseas, so you also have regulations from the government or anything
mhm.
to, there's just a little more complicated than adding everything
Hmm.
together.
Totally, totally, totally. Um, in terms of modalities and treatments, I know we spoke a little bit about testing, but what about treatments that, you believe or have seen to be effective, or have seen to be popular among the clinics that you have visited? Like, um, are there any that really stand out of the crowd? And are there any that you would highly recommend to someone who's opening up a longevity space?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many amazing procedures now. I really think most of us can heal. And I think it's worth the money and the time. A lot of people don't want to, they think, okay, this is costly to do blood work. This is costly to do EVO or plasma exchange therapy or peptides or even stem cells. But it can be life changing. So I think a lot of people are struggling with health issues right now
Hmm.
and or pain or injuries, back pain, all these things. And I, there's so many ways to heal.
Hmm.
And a lot of, EVO is really good to detox, ozone therapy, ozone dialysis.
Hmm.
That's a great way to get rid of toxins and plasma exchange therapy.
Hmm.
Those are really popular right now, I think,
Hmm.
as kind of the detox, get
Hmm.
rid of heavy metals, plastics, all those things in our body, viruses. And
Hmm.
then you also can add in procedures like stem cells or
Hmm.
peptides to get really that healing of
Hmm.
maybe a knee injury, your gut, and then stem cells and exosomes are great. Those I haven't done stem cells. I kind of did
Hmm.
some stem cells with Acorn Labs, which I don't know if you've
Hmm.
heard of.
Yeah.
My own stem cells, but I haven't used donor-based stem cells. But
Hmm.
those are very popular. I know like Adil
Hmm.
Khan's new stem cells are really popular, and he's
Hmm.
like in Dubai and uh, Los Cabos and Toronto.
Hmm.
But so a
Hmm.
lot of these doctors, like Matt Cook of Bio Reset Medical. They have other clinics in like Panama and Honduras
Hmm.
outside of the US to do the stem cells procedures.
And I'm guessing, this outsourcing is due to the fact that there's like regulation in the States that prevent people from administering them. Is that the reason?
Yeah, except
Hmm.
Florida. So a
Oh,
deal
except
con
Florida.
now is
Okay.
opening.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
they
I
just,
see.
yeah. So now a deal con, which is known for the Mu stem cells,
Hmm.
is collaborating, I think, with Relive Health in Florida. And so I
Hmm.
think they'll be offering those now in Florida.
Mm,
So,
very interesting. Very interesting. So most
yeah.
likely, do you foresee that sort of like um, being like a precursor to regulation change in other places in the United States? And do you think that that may be a reason why people may start to consider adding these services, in their home states, when and if like regulation allows it?
Yeah. And I think a lot of doctors now are implementing peptides. peptides is
Hmm.
kind of now pretty popular in most clinics or regenerative functional medicine clinics.
Hmm.
And now I think stem cells are going to be popular. And I know there are stem cell clinics like in California, Dr. Joy and Todd. Um, and there's quite a few clinics that they just are not really known because they don't want to put that out there. Um, as long as you don't expand the stem cells, you can have them here in the US. But once you start expanding the stem cells, and that's why you have to go overseas.
Hmm. I see. I see. That makes sense. Um, though,
Yeah.
makes sense. In terms of like the more traditional um, sort of treatments and modalities like red light therapy, PMF, or ozone therapy. I know you know sort of talked about ozone therapy a little bit. Uh, I know some of these devices may cost quite a bit of money, and we know a lot of our affiliates are, in many cases, on the fence about investing in these things. Uh, what's your opinion on them? Like, do you think that it's worth the investment to drop maybe 50, 60, or sometimes 100 grand in order to buy one of these devices? Or do you think the market is sort of saturated? Too many of these have been deployed, or people are not really getting the benefit, and as a result, retention is not there. Uh, I, and I know you may only be speaking off of empirical point of view, but that's also valuable given the fact that you're quite experienced in the space.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's saturated at all. I think
Uh,
these modalities should be more common on every block. I think so many people are struggling with their health. They need hyperbarics, they need, the red light. A lot of people love red light therapy, red light beds.
mhm,
You know, my hope is, CVS or Walgreens or these drugstores, we can have, health longevity clinics kind of everywhere and maybe make it cheaper. I do think it is somewhat expensive, for a sauna, hyperbaric, and I wish that, these things can be cheaper and more accessible to people, that they don't just come once a month, once a week. These can be like a daily or, every other day ritual in doing something that's helping their health. That's kind of my theory. I would love to just, walk along and go to a sauna, make it a social event.
mhm.
And instead of maybe going to the bar, we can all just um, do sauna together.
Well, we have bathhouse in the US, in New York, right? And we don't have anything similar in Miami. And I would say very few metropolitan areas have, something similar to uh, bathhouse. But I think it's, gaining popularity. I think there's going to be a few more of these social wellness clubs. I know Remedy Place,
Hmm.
which is one of our valued customers, is really doubling down on this trajectory, trying to bridge wellness and social experiences into one. Another great concept for many of you to consider, because to Jenny's point, a lot of people who do these services on a recurring basis have the expectation of also doing something social when they're doing these things because they're doing them on a recurring basis. And it's fun to also engage with people, make friends, build relationships, yada yada yada, with people once you're in the space. And so I think that is something for people to consider, a potential opportunity in the market. But I think to date, I would say a very small minority of longevity clinics have built a social angle around their experience, and I think that may be a very interesting untapped opportunity for many of you guys.
I think too, we need to build more like healthy cafes within these like social longevity clinics.
Hmm.
Food is such an important part of health and wellness. And I feel like the struggle is still quite a bit to get real healthy organic food. And that's a big, I would think that would be great to also have in these social clinics and say, hey, let's have a health bar, you know, let's make these delicious, you know,
Hmm.
healthy drinks, cappuccinos, food items. And that's part, if I had an ideal longevity
Hmm.
social clinic, I
Hmm.
would love to have that aspect as well, because people always love to have conversations around food and drinks and everything, you know.
No, that totally makes
So
sense. Yeah. And
I'm getting ideas as well.
no, it's I think an interesting one because it sort of avoids the large capex that typically comes with trying to deploy a red light therapy bed and a cryo chamber and a hyperbaric chamber. We know the bills start to stack up pretty aggressively when you're trying to build a clinic that has everything right. In Miami, we have places like the Setner Clinic, which is like multi-million-dollar establishments because of all the things they have in store. But I understand
Mhm.
that very few people actually have the budget and the funding to put something like that together, and that's why we're trying to have these conversations with people like you to help people navigate. Um, in terms of,
Yeah, I saw this.
Mhm.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
I saw this. I don't know if you've heard of Love Life in
Mhm.
California. So
No.
it was actually the founder of Whole Foods opened up a
Mhm.
clinic.
I think I've
And
heard of
so
it. Yeah,
he,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so they have everything there. They have a hyperbaric, Oxy Health. They have a gym. They have a whole like cafe. They have
Hmm.
cold plunge sauna, all this stuff. And I think it's just missing that beautiful aesthetic look. I think now, too, a lot of people have to think about Instagram and social media and getting those beautiful images. And I
Hmm.
think they kind of miss that because
Hmm.
right now, a lot of people want these beautiful modern clinics. And when you
Hmm.
are, it almost is like a YMCA kind of look. And so I don't know. And location also matters as well. I think their location wasn't a great part. It
Yeah.
has to be kind of in the center of Los
Hmm.
Angeles or something. And it was too
Hmm.
far away for most people.
I get it. Yeah. I mean, location is a very big thing, and we see it time and time again. And I think location will also determine the nature of your services and the price point and the business model. We work with, a
Mm,
multitude of uh, businesses that range the gamut uh, um, of income when it comes to the clients they uh, cater to. So we have places like Remedy Place, and we also have places like Restore that are trying to be more economical and more affordable. And so, depending on where you are, that becomes a very significant determinant of what services to include and how to actually price them and what business model you should
yeah.
apply, because it's a very different thing to be selling longevity services and treatments downtown Manhattan versus selling them in suburban areas of, middle income America.
Yeah. I think, I don't know if you've been following Next Health and Dr. Darshan, but they've
Yeah.
done an amazing job, I think, with their clinics. It's not the extreme, but they offer quite a bit, and they're expanding. Like I think they're opening up 6 locations in South Florida
Yeah.
this year,
Yeah.
so it's just expanding
Yeah.
everywhere. I really
Hmm.
like their model. They
Hmm.
don't have everything; it's kind of
Hmm.
smaller, but you know,
Yeah.
gets the job done. They do.
Which which I think is an also a very important point. We've seen that with many clinics that haven't done as well, which is to really stuff their business with too much, and then it becomes impossible to create a cohesive client experience. It becomes impossible to create bundles, uh, and I think it becomes very difficult to train your personnel on what to sell, how to sell it, how to combine it. And I think lack
Mhm.
of inability to combine offerings is ultimately what makes the selling difficult, because clients really don't understand these things. They just walk in, with the intention of, hey, I just want to live longer at the end of the day. Like, I don't want to become an expert in the science of red light therapy or whatever compound you're about to infuse in my body. What I'm really interested in is, how do I, get a combination that works for me? And so we've seen that time and time again, clinics investing a lot of money trying to really build the full stack, but then it becomes impossible for the personnel to support it, get trained on it effectively, and then ultimately sell it.
Yeah. And I don't, Next Health too, they did a lot of partnerships with influencers and
Hmm.
podcasts and conferences. So I think a lot of people are missing that opportunity to get the word out about their clinics is by
Hmm.
constantly collaborating. When they open a new location, they are messaging me, do you know any influencers? Do you know any people that we can bring in and promote the clinic? So they've done
Hmm.
a really good job also with partnering and getting the word out with these clinics.
Totally, totally. And obviously marketing is a very big thing. You can't really scale your business if you're not putting the word out there. Um, but I mean, obviously Next Health, very significant establishment, not your average clinic. It's sort of
Yeah.
like, top 0.5% of the league. But I think some interesting teachings and findings for people to apply. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so we do have some questions from our audience here that I wanted to touch upon. The first one was about the ultrasound you mentioned. How sophisticated was it? I'm guessing, sort of a question that I had too when you talked about it.
I
Was it
know.
like a full-blown like medical ultrasound? I know there are
Yeah.
some smaller devices now that do some sort of ultrasound, which gives you an idea of what's happening in the body, but it wouldn't really qualify as a medical grade ultrasound. And then the other question that I had is in uh, on which organs are you actually applying that ultrasound, and what are you looking for?
Um, yeah, I mean, just like my heart, they can see blood going in and out with the blood vessels, if there's blood going back. I mean, I didn't have that. My other friend did it as well, and she had a little bit of blood kind of going back into the heart. So you can really make sure your heart is pumping correctly, um, the speed of the blood going through, the pumping, the thickness of your arteries and the blood going to your brain and out. They tested my thyroid. They looked
Mm,
at everything, all my organs. Really, really cool because, and you can
hmm.
see it in real time. You can look over and then they take
Hmm.
measurements of everything. So, yeah, I mean, I also did the MRI and the ultrasound is more accurate than an
Hmm.
MRI. So
Interesting.
it's a really great device. Yeah, yeah. So
Interesting.
super
So
cool. They, like
mainly,
some,
sorry, you were gonna say.
oh, like one thing is the only thing that they found is maybe like a little, like a nodule, like on my thyroid. The
Hmm.
MRI did not find anything. She was like, and they found like a little something with the
Hmm.
ultrasound. But of course, they
Mm,
said because it's so small too, like if it's not even on the MRI, and then the blood work, which I've done also recently, all my hormones and everything came back normal. So I'm not concerned, but it is something that the ultrasound will show up more of
mm.
something than an MRI. Yeah.
Interesting you say that. I also have a little nod on my thyroid that my prenuvo scan picked up. So I guess mine is a little bit bigger. And something that I need to watch out for, in the coming years. But yeah, I mean, guys, whenever I've done testing and, as the founder of a biometric testing company, I've done a lot of testing, whether it's like function health or urine testing or prenuvo scans or whatever. Like, there's always something that is interesting to find out about your health. And, I am the biggest proponent of like test on guess. And it's interesting that, ultrasound is a thing from what it seems in Europe, potentially something that, we may want to start considering in the United States as well. So another good question that I'm seeing here, are any institutions testing or teaching about the importance of Klotho, Klotho? Are you familiar with that, Jenny? Because I'm not.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Mini Circle, I think, is going to come out with a Klotho gene therapy.
Mhm.
I think soon, and I believe they're in the Bahamas and Honduras. There's another one. I wrote it down. It's actually with Oliver. It's Triple Helix, and they're also working on Klotho as well.
Can you
So
talk a little bit
the
about
more
Klotho? I'm totally ignorant around it, so I don't even know what we're talking about. Is it a test? If yes, what are we testing?
I know, no, it's going to be a gene therapy.
Oh, it's gene
I
therapy.
guess,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. And so when I guess it declines with age, and it's really can extend longevity and health
Mm-hmm.
span, especially neurodegenerative disease and everything,
Mm-hmm.
so memory and cognition. So they're really looking into that, and I think Klotho will be like the new thing for gene therapy, because right now most people are just doing follistatin,
Mm-hmm.
which helps produce more muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And then Klotho will be more for extending lifespan and any
Interesting.
neurodegeneration. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. No, that's very interesting. So I am certainly going to be looking out for that. Another good question about brain health. So, what are your thoughts on what's next generation for brain health? I want to open a brain focused clinic that offers TMS. Jenny,
Mm.
go ahead. I have my thoughts on that, but you go first.
Yeah. I mean, there are clinics doing TMS already.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like, I interviewed Sheldon Jordan. He does exosomes with ultrasound, and he you can get to certain areas of the hypothalamus with inserting exosomes there. And he believes he's um, reprogramming your brain age by 10 or 15 years, and he's done it himself. He's 70, but he looks like 50. And
Ah,
he said when he does this, yeah, his sex drive came back, his appetite, all these things. The hypothalamus
well,
is just like everything. Your brain controls your hormones, your immune system just controls everything. I think that's the
totally.
future of brain health, and also exosomes too. Like, he wants to, in all hospitals, is to be able to just sniff exosomes. So if you do have a brain injury, if you get into an accident, if you are a football player and you have actual brain damage, you want to have the
Mm-hmm.
exosomes right away, so that it goes
Mm-hmm.
and heals right away instead of waiting a year or 2 years. So if we can just in hospitals
So what
just
you
have
what you described is
that
more something that
exosome,
would focus on healing the HPA axis, or is it like um, targeted on specific parts of the brain, or is it more
mm,
like a general brain sort of healing mechanism?
yeah, I think more regenerative healing I'm talking about.
Okay.
You know, and then of course there's BTT here in Miami, which is using heat therapy and producing heat shock proteins to heal the body and treat neurodegeneration. That's something else.
Very cool.
There's quite a few things that are going on. I think the future is brain health, because I think
Hmm.
we've been focusing so much on the physical, but the brain can do
Hmm.
so much to
Hmm.
really heal the body as well. So yeah.
Totally. Um, in terms of testing, I know brain testing can be a big challenge. I know about certain things that are available. For instance, like, doing a brain MRI, but I guess the only thing that this is good for is picking up tumors, which obviously it's very important, can be life-saving, but when it comes to this, general optimization, optimizing hormones, optimizing specific parts of the brain, I don't think we can get a lot of bang for the buck from doing a brain MRI. But or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's actually interesting information there. I know there's EEGs that are becoming more and more popular. I know a lot of our customers are combining EEG with breath analysis because there's a very well-established relationship between the way we breathe and the way our brain functions. Whenever we start to see neurodegeneration, we also start to see perturbations in breathing patterns, and vice versa. Whenever we see improvement in brain health, we start to see improvement in brain patterns. So you can think of the brain breathing relationship as a bidirectional relationship that one can use in order to track progress or deterioration. And then you can also sort of use like breathing training in order to induce changes in the brain. But besides that, I haven't really come across anything else. So uh, anything from your experience when it comes to brain health testing?
I forget what it's called. I interviewed Dr. Sheldon Jordan on my podcast, and
Hmm.
he got into that we can see everything in the brain, specific neurotransmitters going, crossing over and like very, very specific. I forget what the
Hmm.
test is called. I
Hmm.
think it is more on the expensive side. He definitely uses this for clients that are, have a
Hmm.
lot of are struggling extensively and have the money to do the test. But if you listen
Hmm.
to my that episode, you will find out what the test is called.
Awesome.
But
We'll
I
make sure we have the link for everyone
forgot.
asking for it. No,
Yeah,
that's
it's
that is super interesting. I think someone has like a follow-up question. Would the exosomes be self-pay for regenerative healing for the brain? You mentioned he wants to bring it into hospitals. TMS works great for post-stroke as well as so combo would be great.
oh, you cut out for a second.
Yeah, sorry. I guess the question is, when it comes to exosomes, is there any sort of reimbursement from your experience, or is it more like, self-pay out of pocket? I'm guessing out of pocket, right? We're not there.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully all
Yeah.
these things come down. Um, you know, gene therapy is 25K, stem cells around 10 to 20 maybe. It gets very expensive. So I think that's why
Hmm.
a lot of people are just going to peptides at the moment, because peptides are on the cheaper side for most
Hmm.
things and can be very healing for people. I think that's a
Hmm.
great option.
Hmm.
Some of these plasma exchange therapy is about 10,000. So
Yeah.
6 to 10,000. So
Hmm.
ozone is about 1,000, 1,500.
Hmm.
Um, so peptides are on the cheaper side, and a lot of people are really healing from peptides. Um, so that's one of, I think, the best bang for your buck.
Hmm.
Or
Totally,
just
totally.
blood
Yeah.
work too. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people want to go to these modalities before doing blood work, and it can all just rely
Hmm.
on a deficiency or a toxin. So
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
definitely doing those first.
Hmm. Awesome. Understood. Cool. Well, I guess that was pretty much it. Jenny, thank you for joining us, especially given the fact that you pretty much just landed in Miami after a few days in Europe and, you're still in recovery mode. So I much appreciate that. Very cool insights. We're going to be posting this conversation on our YouTube channel. And guys, we also posted a link if anyone has additional questions about what we talked about or about PNOE, how PNOE can help your business, all that good stuff. You can click on the link and get in touch with one of our experts. And then, Jenny, I look forward to seeing you very soon in Miami.
Yes, come back and bring all the good food with you on ice.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks everyone for joining. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Bye.